And we will be talking about something that may affect us all, which is stop worrying and start living. Stop worrying and start living. Because what happens that many times we tend to worry a lot. And let me tell you, that is a word that I do like to use in my vocabulary. Because when we say, okay, raise your hand before we continue. Raise your hand if you use the word worry in your vocabulary. If you say, oh, I'm so worried, oh, I worry so much. If you use that verb, worry. Raise your hand, or you can also write it on the chat. I don't see many hands there. Because the thing is, hi, Carol, beautiful that you're there. And I see that you use that word, worry. Because the thing is that, yes, we sometimes use that word a lot. In our society, I would say that we use it a lot. However, I choose not to say that word. I like to say, instead of saying, I am worrying or I worry because of something, I like to say, I am concerned. I am concerned because so and so and so. So that is a choice that I make. However, I can tell you that it works for me. I think that lifts the heaviness of saying, I worry. Because even when we say, that the word, the phrase, the sentence, I worry, I'm so worried, even the tone we use, okay? So let's start paying attention to all those things that it's amazing, but it can make a difference. Now, what does it mean to worry? What is it to worry? Well, according to Oxford Learner's Dictionary, worrying means to keep thinking about unpleasant things that might happen or about problems that you have. So here the word again, unpleasant things, and that might happen. It doesn't even say that they are going to happen. They might. At the same time, they might not. But because we tend to worry, and worrying is future-based. Worrying is future-based. And the thing is that when we go into future-based, we know that other emotions are fear. Another emotion is anxiety. So when we go into future-based, we may be worrying and about something that may happen. Maybe it never happened. You know that I have read several statistics, and I'm going to say to you instead of writing them down, because I have found several statistics. I always knew for many years, it's been said that of the things that we worry, 80% never happen. 80% never happen. And of the remaining 20%, 10%, we can do something about it. 10%. And 10%, it's out of our control. So if we cannot even have control over, what's the use of worrying? So that is the statistic I have, I know for years of doing this. Now, doing research for this presentation, I found actually two other statistics. One said that 90% of the things we worry, they don't happen. And another one was extremely extreme, 95% never happen. So taking these three statistics, at least the least is 80%. So that gives us an idea that we may be wasting time in worrying because the thing most likely will not happen, okay? Now, you may say, Ligia, but I have problems. I have problems and I am worrying about those problems, I cannot go to sleep. Or I go to sleep and I wake up in the middle of the night. That's one of the main comments, main complaints I hear from clients, that happens to them. So they go into being awake at night, worrying about things, problems they have, things that may be happening in their lives. And the thing is this: if worrying would solve the problem, then worry, if that is the answer. However, if that doesn't solve the problem, then do something about it. One of the things, of course, is to change our thoughts, to have an anchor, to change it, to do some meditation. We're going to be talking about that a little later. However, keep a journal next to your, on your night table, next to your bed. When you are awake and thinking about a problem, about something that you have to solve, about the things that you have to do next day, all those things that you may be worrying about, write it down on your notebook. Write every single thought, put it on the paper. So you're going to be transferring those thoughts that are keeping you awake, you move them to the paper. That technique, it's so powerful. That technique is so powerful because those emotions, worrying, that is happening because of something we are thinking. So if you transfer all that to the paper, that heaviness may just, leave and give you a sense of feeling lighter. Okay? Just ideas. We'll be talking throughout the presentation about all these different techniques. However, just starting off, I wanted to say that. You know that when I talk with you, even though I have my presentation, my bullet points and all that, if I have an idea that may help you when I'm talking, I just share it with you because I want to be flexible with this and thinking that this may help you at the moment. Okay? Now, this talking about statistics. I read that last year, well, now we are in 2022, but in 2020, as we all know, is when we started the unfortunate pandemic that has taken us, to a toll, has been such a challenging time. 2020, 59% of adults, that's such a high number, almost 60% of adults, 59, reported a daily sense of worry. That is from Gallup, that they are experts in doing surveys and all that. So that is extremely high. And you may say, well, that was because of the pandemic. Well, but in reality, with pandemic or without pandemic, people tend to worry. And adults worry, teenagers worry. And it's incredible that now that didn't happen before. I don't remember being a child worrying. I really don't remember. But children get worried now at this time. And that I know because, because of my clients, they share with me about their children. And they are facing different stimuli in our society that are making them worry. Okay, so for us to keep in mind what is going on in our society with that. Now, let me just do this. Okay, causes of worry. What makes us worry? What is it? What causes us to worry? First, we would say, and this was taken from the blog of betterup.com, blog worry, and I made some, little changes that I added. First, facing life transitions, such as having a child. You would say, what? Having a child to worry? Well, yes, absolutely. It can give us, a sense of worry. Moving, taking care of someone, being a caregiver. Divorce, going through a divorce, all the things that have to do with it. Losing a loved one. Also, when we are facing any of these transitions, of course, we know that we may experience other emotions. We know that. We may experience grief. We may experience sadness, fear, anger. We may experience anxiety. We may experience worry. Okay, because remember, sometimes we have this like mixed emotions, kind of like if we put them all that, in a bag, and we have so many different emotions. So we want to pay attention what is causing our worry. Now, of course, if we have a financial challenge, we may worry. We may worry about our expenses. How are we going to pay the mortgage of the house? How are we going to, to go with our monthly responsibilities? Of course, they may give us a sense of being worried. If one loses their job, another source that maybe causing worry. Now, it's interesting because even with positive situations, as we would call them, for example, planning for a big purchase, you may want to buy a house. You may want to buy a house that is positive, that is exciting, and at the same time, it may give you some worries. How is it going to be, in the new neighborhood? Or if you're going to a condominium, how are going to be my neighbors? How am I going to be living there? How things are they going to be better or worse? So we may have all these different scenarios that may make us worry. Or also if you are downsizing, we are, facing times also that especially when we may face retirement, we may be in the stage of retirement and our kids, our children are not, living with us. And then you may be thinking that you want to simplify. You want to simplify and you are downsizing. That can also be a source of worry. So we see that different things that we go through may be a cause of worry. Okay. Now, what about relationship challenges? And this is one of the topics that we have spoken about in other sessions, in other meetings, because it is a topic that continues to come up. We may all face a situation with, okay, please remember that if we are, let me see, let me just,
I don't know what painters are doing, Edwin.
find to, okay, I am doing my best to mute people. I'm sorry, but sometimes that, okay, I was just doing some muting here because remember that this stays there and may not allow us to hear. Okay, good. Thank you. Now, what are other causes of worry? Well, physical health issues. If we are having a health condition, if we have some concerns with our health. Another issue that I didn't include there, or it was not included in the blog, but I want to add it because it's real. It's real. I hear it a lot, and we want to talk about this. Aging. Yes, we heard the word aging. As we age, there are different challenges. We may have challenges, physically, we may have challenges. Socially, we may have challenges. So with family, and how we feel, how we handle our aging process. That is huge. I believe I mentioned here in one of the sessions that we covered, I mentioned the fact of feeling invisible as we age, as we grow older, the situations that we may feel invisible may grow, and that of course gives people a sense of worry. Some people worry, who is going to take care of me? when I am old, all these things, what is going to happen? So for all these things, I recommend so much that we do some planning, because sometimes we worry about things and we do not take action. So if it is under your control to take some action and get rid of that worry, because you might be concerned, yes, when I am old, how am I going to do this? The papers that I have to take care of. So all those things, we may do something about it. I think that I'm going to do a presentation, because I think actually a presentation. No, I think to do a seminar or a workshop rather, but not to this, like my own, about advanced directives, about the papers that we want to have ready, all those things. We don't talk about these things, and they are important, okay? So aging, it's maybe a cause of worrying as well, thinking of what is going to happen in the future. Now, all the other things that may worry us, everyday things like, traffic or doing the chores, at home, doing the housework, too many social commitments. Some people have a very busy agenda. And you may say, how fun. Well, maybe fun in some aspect. However, when it's like way too much, then it may be a cause of worry for some people. The thing is that when I saw that, because that's one of the blogs, I was reflecting and I said, well, but that's under your control. That's totally under your control. If you have too many social commitments, you are choosing to have those commitments. So it's up to you. Remember, again, exercising our ability to choose, to decide, okay? Maybe we have too many responsibilities. Again, we may be taking care of someone. We may have that. We may have, things that we take care of, in our profession, in our job. We may be taking care of many things with other social engagements, or maybe with the charities and all that. And it may be too much to handle. So the things that you don't have to do, learn to let go, delegate. Sometimes maybe challenging to delegate. Like in my case, I like to do my things. So, but you know what? It's important to delegate when things are not that important, that you do it and someone else can do it. Okay. The same with obligations. If someone else can help you out, then delegate, and you will not have so much on your plate. Okay. Now, this is extremely important, and you know how much I believe in this. A cause of worrying is lack of time for self-care practices and hobbies. And this is something that people may say, I don't have time for myself. It may be true that you have so much to do that you do not have all the time in the world. However, finding some time for yourself, it's important. Always, it's important. Remember, it's not being selfish, it's taking care of yourself. So, taking all these things into consideration, these may be causes of worry. Now, see how wonderful this quote. Worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. Isn't that beautiful? Because it is so true. When we worry, the troubles that tomorrow will bring will come, either we worry or not. However, the peace of mind, peace in our heart that we may be able to experience right now, it's taken away because we are worrying. Okay, so pay attention to that as well. If you worry, you may even come with a motto, with a mantra. I want peace. Comes the worry, you start thinking about something that worries you. You may say this, I want peace. Immediately, you shift it, you replace it. We can do these things. And the more we do it, the more natural it feels and the easier it also becomes. Okay? Now, what Magic Rule has to say about chronic worrying? She says, chronic worrying can be a symptom of something more serious, like an anxiety disorder. Because sometimes people tell me, no, Ligia, I am a warrior. Can you imagine that? I am a warrior. So you are labeling yourself. I am a warrior. I worry about everything. Now, what are we going to do with that? Because if you already say, I am a warrior, you are. You will be worrying about everything. However, if it's chronic and you actually worry about everything, then it may be a symptom that you have an anxiety disorder. You may have GAD, which is general anxiety disorder. So pay attention. This type of worry can lead to physical symptoms like muscle tension. People get really uptight. Insomnia, as we were saying, not being able to sleep, or poor sleep hygiene. Stomach pain. Stomach pain, they may also have back pain. Listen, our back is incredible, but it's a place where we can hold strong emotions. Our back, stress, worry, grief in the back. So pay attention if you're suffering some back pain, okay? And of course, and we know that if it's a chronic anxiety, a chronic worry, it may develop into panic attacks. That panic attacks comes from anxiety, okay? Now, what is the difference then between worrying and anxiety? Because people sometimes use it interchangeable. However, there is a difference, okay? So we're going to see here. Let me just move this. Okay. Anxiety tends to be general. Worry tends to be specific. For example, you may worry about being late for a meeting because there is a train strike on. Something that happened, and then you're worried that you're going to be late, period. Anxiety can take your thinking to catastrophic levels. That's a big difference. Where you fear you will lose your job just for being a few minutes late for the meeting. Can we see the difference? Worrying is about, well, I'm going to be late because, there's this traffic thing. But anxiety is when you are just imagining in your head, my God, I'm going to lose my job because I'm going to be late. So we go into this mode of catastrophic thinking. Catastrophic thinking is a way of thinking that we tend to make things the worst. We create the scenarios in our head. So let's pay attention if we tend to do that. And always, always say to yourself, it is in my head, because we are the ones who are creating these catastrophic thoughts. We are able to delete them. If we develop the practice, it can be done, okay? Now, what about anxiety can be in the body? Worry is in the head. Now, what does it mean? Worry tends to be a thinking thing. We have it in our mind, ruminating on thoughts and actions. Remember what I told you? If you are, if you are staying up at night, it's that you are ruminating on thoughts and actions and coming up with a plan of what to do next. So you are just entertaining those thoughts in your head. You may feel anxiety in your chest or stomach. So it's physical. You may have that symptom. It is manifesting in your chest or stomach. You may feel like tightness, or you may have nausea, which has no logical reason attached to it. It can take over your body. So that is the main difference between anxiety and worry. So always pay attention to that. Now, according to Dr. Deborah Fulham Bruce, and this is from the website WebMD. I love that website Because you know what? In things of health, I always like to go to websites which are reliable because people can write whatever they want, on the internet. You can just, write on a blog or any website things that may not be reliable. So regarding especially, things with your health, your physical and your mental health, you always want to go to a good source. I remember when I used to teach, well, some of you don't know, I used to teach at the university. I live in Miami, and I taught at FIU, Florida International University, courses on death and dying. I am a thanatologist, course very close to my heart. And in Miami-Dade College, I taught world religions. I have a master's in world religions. And I always told my students, if they would bring some sources, in papers and all that, Wikipedia was not accepted because that you can change, the information, that they could only use reliable and serious sources of information. So the same, I tell you that regarding your health, always go to a reliable source. WebMD is a great one. Of course, Mayo Clinic, I love it. Also, from Cleveland, I also love it. Duke has a good one. So we want to go to places that we know the information is something that, that it's reliable, that is true. Okay. Now, for example, what does Dr. Fulcrum say? Chronic worrying can affect your daily life so much that it may interfere with your appetite. You may lose your appetite, or you may eat, in excess. Lifestyle habits, your relationships, they may be altered as well. Of course, your sleep, as we said, your job performance, because if you are worrying, if it's chronic, it may be anxiety, of course, you are not being your best. You may be losing concentration. Your productivity is not the best. You may be late to come to work. You may be late in, just delivering let's say you have to do a project and you are so worrying so much that it has to be perfect, for example, that you never finish it. It's incredible, all these things that may happen. Many people, Dr. Fulghum says, worry excessively, and they are so anxiety-ridden that they seek relief in harmful lifestyle habits, such as overeating, cigarette smoking, or using alcohol and drugs. This is where we want also to pay attention, because I see it often. I see it a lot. That people, and I will tell you, and it breaks my heart. But with COVID, with the pandemic, there has been a rise, and issues with mental health. Huge, the rise is huge. And why? Because people they are overwhelmed, and it's like bereavement overload, so many things happening. And what we want to make sure is that we have good coping skills, to handle that sense of overwhelming, that sense of it's too much. People may start using alcohol, okay, I'm going to have a glass of wine to relax. Fantastic, great, awesome. Have a glass of wine. But then it may not help only that. And then they say, okay, I'm going to have 2 glasses of wine. And then suddenly, before they realize it, they're having 2 or 3 glasses of wine every single night to deal with what's going on. And there we are being, conservative. I hear that they may be drinking more. So what happens is that we are ruining our health, because not only you are worrying, your mental health, is suffering, but you may also have a negative effect on your physical health. Your liver may hurt. You may get into diabetes. So many things that may happen because when we consume too much alcohol, as we say, abusing alcohol. So it's a coping skill that is not the best coping skill. So what could we do? Well, something that I promote because I believe in it. It helped me so much when I went through the grief of my mom's death. It's exercise, going for a walk, doing a yoga class, going to the gym, just going on a machine, something, going biking, whatever it is. But exercising can help a lot. Exercising can help a lot when you are facing or feeling rather strong emotions, okay? Because you want to use techniques that are healthy to deal with things instead of using techniques that are unhealthy. And we have the ability to choose. I always want to bring to your attention that we all have the ability to choose. It's our life, which is a gift. We can always choose to what's best for us, okay? So now we go into this, the thinking, the worrying, chronic worrying. It's when we go into negative thinking. Always expecting the worst can take a toll, as the doctor said, on your emotional and physical health. So we want to take into account these two types of health, okay? And I would even go, because some of you know that I love to tap into that, into our spiritual health. Our spiritual health is if we don't have peace, if you don't have peace in your soul, spiritually, you're unbalanced. If you don't find meaning in what you're doing, if you don't have a purpose, if you're not able to be grateful, if you're not able to forgive and let go, all those things, they alter our spiritual well-being. So I believe that if we go into worrying too much, because it takes away our peace of mind, our peace of hearts, then absolutely. So not only our emotional and our physical health suffer, but also our spiritual health. Now, it's been said, and this is from the website helpguide.org, and their article is on anxiety and how to stop worrying. And it says, it can sap your emotional strength, leave you feeling restless and jumpy. That people tell you something, and then suddenly you just react with your answer. You get, snappy, you jump. And people say, what are you doing? I just told you this and you jumped. Because we can startle even, with our response. Just going to more relaxed, more centered. Because the thing is, all these things that make us insomnia, headaches. Look at this woman. It's just like, with that gesture. How she's showing that she's worrying with, remember, the gesture, the body language, that she is worrying. She may have migraine, strong headache, may have, of course, we can have stomach problems and muscle tension. So all these things can make it difficult to concentrate at work or at school. Now, what does Janis Joplin say? And I love this because it is so true. You can't destroy your now because it's the only thing we have this moment. You can't destroy your now by worrying about tomorrow. Okay? So whenever you worry, you can come to the here and now and say, this moment is all I have. This moment is all I have. Because that's all we have in now, the present moment. So that's when mindfulness comes to hand, And we're going to see this. Now, see what Wayne Dyer said actually in past, because he died. And some of you that have been with me in other sessions, that I loved the philosophy that he had. He said, it makes no sense to worry about things you have no control over, because there's nothing you can do about them. And why worry about things you do control? The activity of worrying keeps you immobilized. And that we want to pay attention. Because when we are worrying and we are not taking action, we get stuck. We do not move. So we can always let go of that sense of worrying, taking action, and then we may feel that we are taking control on the things that, yes, that we can do something about, okay? Now, see what Leo Buscaglia said. Worry never robs tomorrow of its sorrow. It only saps today of its joy. Again, you see that different ways of saying the same thing, different quotes, different phrases, different people. That when we worry about something in the future, we are not living the present moment. That's why when we stop worrying, we start living. Remember that Leo Buscaglia is the author of the book Love, and we have talked about him in previous sessions. He was an amazing man. Now, what to do then when you're worrying? Well, first, as it says in Better Up, worry a little is natural. It's human, it's natural to pay attention, no? Now, we can also develop resilience. Resilience, the ability to face things, knowing that we can just do something about it. That thing that we are confronting is not going to throw us to the floor and leave us there. No, we can face things, we can confront things, and we have the ability to handle them. That doesn't mean that they don't hurt us. That doesn't mean that they do not concern us. No, it's not that we are just aloof with them. No, even though they may hurt us or concerns us and all that, or we may be some fear or, maybe some fearful or scared with them. However, we are able to handle them. That is when we develop resilience. And the interesting thing is what I'm going to say to you. When we are confronted with different challenges in life, it's a practice, because then we do it over and over, and then we develop this resilience. Then, if you're worrying, evaluate the reason of your worry. Just ask yourself, if this is worthy, that you worry about that. You change your physical state. Remember, we have said that so much. We change our physical state, we change our emotional state. That's why I believe so much in exercise. Take some breathing, doing some breathing techniques. Breathe in, let out, and embrace calmness. Do some meditation. Do some journaling. Walk. Do something about what you're worrying about. I thought that these ideas from betterup.com was amazing. They were amazing. So I hope that you took notes of these different things that you can do when you feel that you're worried. No? Now, you can also take a break. More than thinking, write it down. As David Burns, MD, recommends, take some worry breaks. Worry breaks. You can take a 5-minute break. No, between 1 minute and 5, but it will be better, if you can take just like 1 or 2 minutes to worry. Okay, you're worrying. Okay, put the timer. You can do it, with your phone. You can do it with a clock. Put the timer, and then you worry. 1 minute, I'll worry. After the alarm goes off, you go back to what you were doing. So you can take breaks. And this is from this book that it's so old. I'm going to share it with you. I love it. And it's so old. It's The Feeling Good Handbook. This is, David D. Burns, MD. He's a psychiatrist, and he writes amazing. He's awesome. And then he talks about all the emotions in the world, okay? But he believes that those worry break do work. So sharing with you. Now, see what Winston Churchill said. I loved this quote. he said, when I look back on all these worries, I remember the story of the old man who said on his deathbed that he had had a lot of trouble in his life, most of which had never happened. Remember about the statistics from 80 to 95% that they never happened? Well, that's what Winston Churchill said. Always to keep in mind that. And now I wanted to share with you this this the special strategy. This special strategy that consists on 4 different things that we can do when we are experiencing strong emotions. And this is from Scott Pradling, and this is from this book. This is great because it's a workbook and it's fantastic. It's called Don't Let Your Emotions Run Your Life. And he says that with strong emotions, and worrying is a strong emotion, that we can do different things. We can practice mindfulness to emotion. Remember, we have talked about mindfulness in the past. I also think that we may do a series of mindfulness, maybe 2 or 3 different sessions on mindfulness, on meditation. I am considering about that when we go into the next quarter. And for example, practice mindfulness to emotion. And what is that? That is when you sit with your emotion. It's not that you run away from your emotion or you ignore it and you put it on the shelf. No, you sit with the emotion and you are mindful. You're with all your senses and the emotion. So the emotion doesn't control you. Okay, that's really important. Something else that he said that I liked a lot, change your body language and posture. Because if you say, I'm worried, and also has to do with change your facial expression. Because if you feel worried, how is your body language? Oh my God, you know what I'm going to do? All your body language it shows anxiety. It shows tension. And the posture with your shoulders down, shrugging your shoulders, and the whole thing, the whole message you're sending out and what you're feeling in your body, of course, it is downer. Of course, it is brings you down, it's heavy. Of course, you will feel that worry even more. However, if you change your body language, and you open up to the world, open up to life, you can do it. And the posture, your shoulders back. So the posture is straight. And then you change your facial expression. You may even want to bring a smile to your face. Remember? Some of you may remember when we talked about that, that experiment that they did with people that they were depressed and said, no, I am not feeling like smiling. Doesn't matter. That's okay. You can do it, with your fingers. Ching, just bring your mouth, your lips high, and then pretend that you are smiling. And they were using those electrodes, in their head, and they could see that the levels and the chemistry in the brain actually, it showed that the mood went up when they were smiling. They were even pretending that they were smiling. So smiling is a practice, like everything. When you're talking on the phone, smile. It's incredible, all these things. And this is something that I know I mentioned before. And I don't know, Carmen, if you were there. And when I did, no, I don't think you were there. But when I did a training, actually, live in person for the Alliance for Aging many years ago. And it was how to talk to people, on the phone when they were calling, so they may give a sense of welcoming to the person who are calling. Is they smile when they answer the phone. You smile when you are talking to people. You smile. So that is what you're going to project on the phone, okay, across the line. When you are on yourself, when you are frowning, when you are, with a posture down, even when you're talking, you may be surprised how the tone of your voice, the emphasis that you're using, all that would be reflected on how you are talking, you are communicating. And then, of course, you engage in behaviors opposite to the emotion. So if you are worrying, then you're going to get in a behavior that is opposite. You can do some meditation. You can do some breathing. You can do some counting from 1 to 10. Different, you can write, all your emotions. All these things you can do to be able to let go of worrying and start living. Okay? So I hope that you take with you some of these ideas if you tend to worry. And now we are going to go into our meeting, to come together as a group. So we will be able to, I'm going to see what you wrote on the chat, and we are going to start sharing now. Thank you.